Hi, my name is Karen Hoy, and I'm a medical student at the University of Michigan Medical School. Today, I'm presenting my work on developing a survey to evaluate the impact of gender and racial ethnic microaggressions during residency interviews. The importance of diversity and identity to me became even more apparent as I entered medical school and experienced what I believed to be gender biases during my preclinical and clinical years. I quickly learned that many of my friends and peers who identified as female or came from diverse racial ethnic backgrounds also had similar stories to share. Although females and underrepresented minorities, or URM, are now more represented in medical school and some residency programs than in the past, women in URM are still underrepresented in many surgical specialties, academia, and leadership positions. There are many strategies that have been implemented to improve gender and racial ethnic diversity in medicine, including mentorship programs and targeted recruitment efforts at various points in the pipeline. Our research group specifically wondered about the unspoken barriers that women in URM may face, such as subtle microaggressions. Microaggressions are subtle verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities that communicate negative slights and insults to a target group. We specifically aim to explore the prevalence of gender and racial ethnic microaggressions during residency interviews, as this is a critical time point for senior medical students to learn about the culture of programs within their chosen specialties, which may frame their impressions and set precedent for the remainder of their training. The objectives of our study were to 1, examine the prevalence of gender and racial ethnic microaggressions during residency interviews, and 2, to identify how these affect students' ranking of programs in the National Resident Matching Program, or NRMP. After a review of literature on various microaggression scales, we initially constructed a pilot survey first looking at gender microaggressions only. These questions were adapted from a previously published validated racial ethnic microaggression scale. The anonymous voluntary survey was emailed to fourth-year medical students at the University of Michigan who participated in the NRMP, and the survey was open for responses from June to July of 2020. The survey specifically asked respondents to indicate the number of programs where they recall experiencing various gender microaggressions, and if experienced, how this affected the ranking of programs where they occurred on their rank list. The survey also asked for demographic information and gave the option for respondents to share narrative-free text responses. The response rate was 21%, which made it difficult to perform robust statistical analyses. Therefore, descriptive statistics were calculated. Likert scale responses were collapsed such that the frequency scale was collapsed into a binary experienced versus not experienced, and the ranking scale was collapsed into increased, decreased, no change, or did not rank program. Despite the small sample size and absence of statistical significance calculations, we did detect some important signals. Respondent demographics are shown in Table 1, with 74% of respondents being female, 77% being white, 71% in the age range of 26 to 30, and 71% applying into non-procedural specialties. We found that majority of respondents recalled experiencing at least one microaggression, and they reported majority of the time that this decreased their ranking of the program, or they did not rank the program at all. The most commonly experienced microaggression was a microassault, followed by a microinsult and a microinvalidation. We also found that majority of respondents also witnessed faculty and residents of their gender portrayed positively and represented in leadership and contributions at the institution, and majority of the time they reported that this increased their ranking of the program. Most respondents also witnessed discussion of gender-specific needs and benefits, with majority reporting no change in ranking of the program. Some narrative responses that were shared include an applicant who shares her experience feeling excluded by male residents at the program, and another applicant who had a hard time distinguishing the difference between a gender microaggression and a racial ethnic microaggression because women are so underrepresented in her chosen specialty. Ultimately, this study shows that while medical students applying into residency programs did witness gender representation at the programs they interviewed at, a majority also recall experiencing at least one microaggression, which led to a reported decrease in program ranking or not ranking a program at all. When it comes to improving diversity and recruitment efforts, one microaggression is one too many. As studies show that applicants to residency programs, particularly women in URM, are increasingly considering factors such as diversity and inclusion when ranking programs in the NRMP. This suggests that residency programs should invest in targeted training and practices that promote a positive climate and reduce unconscious biases such as microaggressions in order to promote the retention of women and URM. Limitations to our study include the small sample size that prevented a more robust statistical analysis, the single institution study with respondent demographics that may not be representative of the demographics of the medical student population in the country, and the potential for underreporting and recall bias. Future studies will address these limitations examine microaggressions during virtual interviews, and expand the survey to study racial ethnic microaggressions and their intersection with gender. Thank you for listening.